Hi, I'm Stavros. Good morning and welcome. And now it's time for me to show you around the car I have not featured on this channel in nearly a year. So I bought this Honda Civic 1.5 Turbo Petrol almost a year ago, and now I'm finally getting to do a video on it. And the funny thing is that this will be your first time seeing the car and also your last time seeing the car, because in a week's time it's going to be gone. As I take delivery of a new car. So yeah, I'm still going to leave you guessing as to what that new car is going to be. But yeah, some of you probably know already. Who knows? But anyway guys, let's have a full exterior tour of this Honda Civic 1.5 Turbo. Then I'll hop inside and go down through all of the interior controls. And then we'll be taking it out on the road and see how it drives. Okay, let's start off with the full walk around. Now some of you know already that I have a first generation Honda Civic from 1979, and I also have a second generation Honda Civic from 1980. So this 10th generation from 2019 is going to be leaving me. As I told you already, 1.5 turbo petrol, 4-cylinder VTEC, 179 horsepower. A pretty nice performer on the road. And it did originally come with Michelin's. I changed it to Bridgestone Turanza tyres. I find these quieter on the road. 235 45 17s. Nice wheels too, nice design. But yeah, these tyres just don't make as much noise as the Michelin's. That's just my opinion. And we have the twin exhaust pipes there as well. I never did like these vents here on the back. I always thought that they were a bit too much, too busy. But yeah, other than them, it is a pretty nice design, isn't it? That's one thing I always liked about the Honda Civics, was the big boot. So we have 478 litres with the spare wheel taken out. So I just put a spare wheel in there because I like to have one instead of, you know, those kits. So you can take that out and you'll have full boot space there. But yeah, I always like to have that spare wheel if I can manage it. We have the electric socket there as well, your 12 volt. And we have this very handy cover as well. So you can slide that over that side. And say for instance you don't want it on that side, you can change it to this side. So very good. I always like that. And we have 60-40 split on the seats there at the back, and two handles for the boot, which is very well designed. Okay, and we have LED lights front and rear. Let's just hop inside. That is the key, so simply lock, unlock, and we can open the boot as well, and you can fold it in like that as well. So let's stick it in. All the electric windows, you can lock the back windows and lock and unlock the doors. Electric functions for the mirrors. Okay, let's start it up and I'll give it a couple of revs. Okay, and let's go down through the infotainment screen. So yeah, it's a pretty nice infotainment screen, 7-inch. We can go down through Google Maps, we can do our music, we can do our phone, and you can go down through your apps as well, which is always pretty nice. And that is your display, and your inbuilt system is Garmin based for the satellite navigation. Back to your home function, we can go into settings there for the vehicle and press OK, and let's press system here, and more functions there on the information display. So yeah, it's a pretty nice display. It's not exactly the best one on the market, but it's okay. One thing I do hate about it is this volume thing here. I absolutely hate that. I think in some countries they went back to the volume knob, which they had in the 9th generation, which I had no problem with. Up and down your volume, in and out for on and off. Like this. Like you have to do 2 taps for mute. Why isn't there a mute button on the steering wheel? What is this? This is just useless. But yeah, I never liked that on this car. Anyway, let's move on to the fabulous manual gearbox. Real nice short throw. Honda really do know how to make manual gearboxes. So yeah, that's one thing I really did like about this car. We have the auto stop start for the engine. We have the econ function, which I never used. Never used that. The brake hold function, I absolutely love this. You have to have the seatbelt on for it to work, of course. But the minute you come to a stop,
press your brake pedal and the brakes will hold without you having to put on the handbrake at all, the parking brake. So I really like that brake hold function. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, let's move over to the center armrest here, which you can slide back and lift up, and we have a USB socket there. And this is brilliant as well, because not only have you got 2 cup holders, so say for instance you want to move this one back, you could easily get this bottle and you could sit it in there and still close your armrest and still have space there. So very well designed, that whoever did it at Honda, great work. And here as well, the glove box, it's an okay size, and we have touch-up paint there as well, so that's pretty nice. Okay, let's go down through some of the controls here on the steering wheel. So you can answer your phone calls. We have voice activation. That is for the display, for going down through various menus, and just for going up and down through the menu. Let me just show you some of that actually. I'll go down through it here quickly. So you have your average trip there, and then we can come out of that and we can go in to your average speed there and your time. And let's go over to, yeah, you can have this turbo gauge if you want. And let's go back in there. We can have a satellite navigation showing up there as well for all your turns ahead. And we can go over there. That is for your traffic sign recognition. And this is for beeping if you go over a certain speed. So you can set that to different speeds and back out. And that's only for telling you if the rear seat passengers have their seat belts on, and your phone function, and setting it from miles per hour to kilometers. And that is for your servicing. This car was serviced only a few weeks back, and there, just back. So yeah, I always tend to keep it on this one, just for your average trip. So that's the one that I prefer to have it on. And you'll see there as well, we have the adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, and lane departure warning as well. It's all on this car. It's very well done. I do like this adaptive cruise control and your lane keep assist. Okay, so oh yeah, and down here as well, if I just zoom in over there, you'll see we have the HDMI and USB connection, and I have the wire coming up through the dashboard there. So that's very well designed as well. It just comes right through there, so I do like that. And some more functions over here. We have the vehicle stability assist. We can turn on and off our parking sensors. We have collision mitigation braking system. We have the road departure mitigation indicator, and we can turn on the washers for the headlights. And yeah, let's pull the bonnet, open it up, and give you a look. The Earth Dreams technology, VTEC Turbo. So 1.5, as I said, 178 horsepower. Okay, let's close it up. And I'm just going to hop into the rear just to give you a look at the rear leg space behind my driving position. I'm 6'2". So yeah, electric windows in the rear, of course. Let's just hop inside. And yeah, I mean, it's not the best for rear leg space. It's okay. When you lean your head back, you are banging the roof, all right. So yeah, you'd have to kind of scrunch down a bit. But yeah, it's not too bad. We have armrest here as well. We don't have any USB sockets here at the back, so that's not really that good, is it? But yeah, it's comfortable enough. It could do with more headroom in the back though. Okay, let's hop inside and go for a drive. Okay, off we go in the 1.5 Turbo Petrol. So we have 240 Newton meters of torque from the VTEC engine. Now, if you were to compare this to the previous Civic I had, which was the 2.2 litre VTEC from 2013, that had 147 horsepower, but yet it had 350 Newton meters of torque. So a far greater amount of torque more than this car. And the low down pull in that car was far better than this car as well. This car, you really have to rev it to get into the power band. So let's just give it some beans here now, out onto the motorway. So yeah, 4th gear there, 5th,
So yeah, like, not to be confused with the 8th generation. That was the IC TDI version, and that had 138 horsepower and 340 Newton meters of torque. So still good enough pull out of that engine. But the last Civic, I just felt, had far better low down pull than this one. This one, you just really have to rev the hell out of it. So, you know, you really have to go above 3,000 RPM before you feel any real power. But still, it's pretty economical on a long run. You should easily get between 40 and 42 miles per gallon. And into 6th gear. So yeah, cruising away nicely. And we can use our adaptive cruise control, which will set the distance to the car ahead once it detects the car ahead. And yeah, pretty nice evening for a drive. But yeah, the diesel versions of these cars are fantastic on fuel consumption. You could easily get over 50 miles per gallon. That's what I was achieving on the last car. Yeah, once you do knock down the gears, it really does have decent power then, and up to 120 there. So yeah, there's low wind noise levels as well in this car, which I like. That's quite well controlled. But it's the suspension in this car is far ahead of the 9th generation. So we have an independent multi-link rear setup and McPherson struts on the front suspension. And the steering is quite accurate as well. And yeah, I mean, basically you could take your hands off the steering wheel and it will keep you in your lane, although it does tend to bounce a bit. So it's not exactly the best system, and if it's raining, it won't work. But yeah, quite a lot of extras came with this car as standard. Of course, you can move up to the GT specification, and that will give you heated seats, sunroof, wireless charging for your phone, and keyless entry. Yeah, so the frost gauge just came on there. It's 3 degrees. So I've no problem at all with the road holding of this car. It does hold the road quite well. There you go, we're up to 120. So the 0 to 62 in this car is around 8.5, 8.3 seconds. Yeah, so the reason I went for this 1.5 turbo petrol is because coming from the 2.2 diesel, there wasn't anything of the equivalent power. So you would have to either have a 1.6 turbo diesel, which only had 118 horsepower, or else you would have a 1 litre 3-cylinder petrol, and that only has 125 horsepower. So yeah, there wasn't much of a lineup to choose from. So yeah, but I was happy enough with my choice getting this car, and really did like my time owning it. But it is time for it to go, I'm afraid. So we're just making our way back to base after our test drive. Now I know some of you are probably going to be in the comment section, is that the 1.5 turbo petrol with the oil dilution problem? Now what I mean by that is that this engine was known to have petrol seeping down through the cylinders down into the oil sump and diluting the oil, so you would have less viscosity in the oil, and then it wouldn't be lubricating the engine properly. Now that happens to a degree in other cars. The problem with this engine is the amount of it that's happening. But what you really need to be careful of is how you use the car. So if you are somebody that uses it in cold climates and you are doing a lot of short journeys, that's not good for any engine. So just be careful with your short journeys in cold climates. That will have an effect on this engine. So you're better off just building it up to speed and warming it up, and that will help evaporate any petrol that has gone into the oil sump. Now Honda have done an update on the software for this problem, which will result in the car heating quicker to try and stop this problem. But I've had no problem with this car whatsoever. Absolutely nothing in the full year I've owned it. So you just have to change the oil regularly, maybe every 5,000, 6,000 miles. I would be changing the oil, and just check on the oil dipstick as well, because
If it goes over full, that could be an indication of oil dilution as well. Yeah, just be careful of that, and use fully synthetic oil as well. That will help. So yeah, let's make our way back to base.
And there you go, as I say goodbye to the 10th generation Honda Civic. I really did enjoy my time owning this car, and a far better driving position than the 9th generation as well, which had its fuel tank underneath the front seats. Thankfully, Honda moved the fuel tank to underneath the back seats on this one. So as a result, you've got a far better driving position where you can get the seat nice and low, and I really did like that in this car. So yeah, definitely get out, drive one guys, see what you think. But I'm going to leave you all there, and yeah, in about a week or two I'll be revealing what car is replacing this Civic. I do hope you can join me then, guys. Please give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll chat to you all again next weekend for another video. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching. Cheers!